morning. And welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of the Emerald Coast. My name is Josh Ashley, a member here and your service leader this morning. The Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of the Emerald Coast is a religious community united by UU principles and committed to service, spiritual growth, and caring fellowship. At our best, we strive to be a welcoming community, to enrich each other through our diverse backgrounds, and to be willing to be changed by each other. You'll find more information about Unitarian Universalism on the back of your order of service. Announcements are listed in the order of service. Please join us for refreshments after the main service today, and consider staying for our second hour small discussion groups, which are described towards the end of the order of service. Now Nancy will lead us in the prelude. Nice. In this free church, we come together without creed, believing that the way we live in the world bears testament to the value of our beliefs. We light this chalice as a beacon of hope for who have gathered here this day, for all who have ever walked through our doors, for those who may yet find the spiritual home, and for those whose paths will never come our way. For all this, and for all those who dare to hope and dream, we kindle our chalice flame this day. Maureen Killeran. Please rise and body your spirit for hymn number 114, Forward Through the Ages. You should find the words behind me on the screen or in the blue hymnal. we'd like to invite the kids up front for our Time for All Ages, which will be read by Liz Wilkins.
Hello? Okay. Hey, okay. Sorry about that. Okay. So, I'm reading Listening with My Heart by Gabby Garcia today. Listening with your heart. Some days stink. Not everything will go the way you want. You'll get upset. And when this happens, you can pause, take a few deep breaths, and practice or mean and rude. Are you being a friend to yourself? We are practicing self-compassion. As she practiced her lines on the porch. Today was the class play. Waiting for Mama to walk with her to school, she paced back and forth when she spotted a heart-shaped rock. Esperanza picked it up and showed it to Mama as soon as she stepped outside. "I seen you found a little treasure," said Mama. Esperanza rubbed its rough surface and felt a twinkle of joy. "Maybe it's a sign." "For what?" asked Mama. She thought about the class play later that afternoon, wondering what it would finally be like in the spotlight. "To put my heart into everything I do," she answered. At that moment, they heard a scratching and a soft cry. Esperanza peeked under the stairs and spotted a kitty shaking and shivering. No Mama in sight. She scooped up the kitten onto her lap and cuddled her. "She's all alone. I think she's hungry." Esperanza reached for her lunch bag, pinched off a piece of chicken, and offered it to the kitty, who gobbled it up. "Mama, I think the rock is a reminder to spread kindness and love. That's what we do when we listen with our hearts." "I think you're on to something," said Mama. "Can we keep Cleopatra, please?" asked Esperanza, who already named the kitty. "Queens are always welcome at our house," said Mama. "If she's still here after school, we'll take her in." At school, Esperanza was more focused on the play than on math or reading. Clutching her script during recess, she noticed Bao sitting alone on a bench. He was new in school this week and didn't speak much English. She wondered if he felt lonely or scared. Esperanza found a soccer ball and kicked it over to him. A smile spread across Bao's face. He stood, popped the ball in the air, then bounced it. "Dude's got moves," thought Esperanza. They spent recess, rubbed the rock in her pocket. Listening with her heart made her feel peaceful inside. It's time for the performance. It was and splattered across the stage. Got her lines, so Miss Owen whispered them to her from backstage. Heat rushed through Esperanza's body as all eyes were glued to her. She wished she could disappear. "I ruined the play, thought Esperanza, rushing off stage as soon as she'd finished her part. "I messed up in front of everyone." She tucked herself in behind some props so no one would see her. Esperanza noticed her body shaking and her face still burning. She took a deep breath and dug the rock out of her pocket. It was cracked and lopsided, just how she felt. Esperanza touched her hand to her heart and felt the disappointment. Bao found Esperanza a few minutes later and handed her a drawing with the word "friend" written above it. Esperanza nodded. She hadn't been treating herself like a friend. Esperanza realized this wasn't the first time she'd been unkind to herself. At the soccer game last weekend, she'd missed the ball that swished by her head, and they lost the game. "Nice work," a player from the other team yelled as the others laughed. Esperanza thought she'd let her team down, and she was the worst soccer player in the world. Thinking those thoughts had made her feel worse. At the curtain call, Esperanza reminded herself she hadn't ruined the play. She had an accident, and accidents happen to everyone. Listening with her heart wasn't just about giving kindness and love to others, it was about giving it to herself, too. "I can be a friend to myself," thought Esperanza. When Esperanza got home, she focused on her favorite things. She zipped down the hill on her bike, then spent the afternoon painting at the kitchen table. She also got the hug she needed from Mama and some cuddles from Cleocatra. The end.
A revered tradition in our fellowship is the sharing of personal joys, milestones, and concerns during our worship service. This is a sacred time. It is for Holy Spirit of life and love, You who are our source and our ultimate destiny, lead us this day on a crooked path. So often we are in so much of a hurry, taking the direct route to our goal, not allowing ourselves to be distracted, sometimes being too direct with one another in all that we seek to do, to be, and to have. But we can see that no river takes a direct path to the sea. Your trees and bushes sprout crooked limbs, and birds, beasts, and insects meander in their search for food, shelter, or a mate. We lose so much when we take the direct route, the interstate which bypasses the quaint township, the arrow that misses the mark, the chance to stop and say hello and how are you, and really listen to the reply. So lead us on the crooked path, past wandering streams and crooked trees, following our heart's desire, not just duty's demands, for the crooked path. We'd like to invite provides an end to the cycle of homelessness in Okaloosa County. Please be generous. Our sermon this morning was originally delivered by our minister, Reverend Ruth Van Lillian, in partnership with Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Bay County.
And some of you have no idea what this is. A paper GPS. There we go. This is, in fact, a map of Bay County. Did you even know it existed? I like maps. I love maps, paper maps. The kind you unfold, you can never properly refold. I'll be working on this one through the entire potluck. I like to stop at state line visitor centers and get the latest free state map. I know, most folk use their smartphone. And Dad made me the navigator and taught me on that trip how to read a map. You should have seen us in Wales, where they use so many consonants and so few vowels, and I struggled to read and pronounce the place names. I also use metaphorical maps on the like to make plans and look ahead and figure out what happens next and by which deadline and how I will get to the next place on my journey. Like most young people, I had a map for my education, and I lived a life of sufficient resource and privilege that I was able to follow that map with relative ease. Unlike many young people, I actually had a clear vocational calling to follow. another kind of map for my journey. And by the age of 25, I was in my first pulpit and I had reached my vocational destination. Marriage followed a few years later, all according to my map. And my journey up to that point had gone fairly smooth until I hit my first real roadblock. My brilliant father threw all his money away on a series of scams and was unable to stop himself because, unknown to any of his loved ones, he had developed dementia. I was 32 years old, and it was incumbent upon me to step in and take over my father's life against his will. I had to go to court. I had to spy on Dad, not to lend him money, and to report his behavior and communications to me. Kept a fairly good humor about it all because he didn't really believe there was anything wrong with him. And he thought my efforts were well-intentioned but misinformed. But for me, it was devastating. This whole experience was not on my map. I felt like I had fallen into the ocean in the place where maps used to say, "Here be dragons." I was drowning in anger, frustration, and depression. I was thwarted by some family members who did not realize the extent of Dad's mental deterioration. I was thwarted by the court system and by other institutions. I was off the map, floundering about with no guidance and very little capable help. Sympathy was insufficient, and I was so lonely and frightened on that unmarked road I found myself traveling. There is little worse than wandering alone through unmarked wilderness, feeling like you are the only one who has ever been down this difficult path and unsure of where you are going or what will happen when you get there. The time of the COVID to go, in many ways, we're and go have all changed some as well, because some people have left and some new people have joined. This is not quite the same fellowship it was 3 years ago. And there is much comfort in knowing that we are all still traveling this part of the life journey together. None of us is really alone in this. We are united in our struggle to figure out our new reality, and we are united in our hope for an even better future for our faith community. So as we continue to journey together, what should we pack? Author and humorist Don Herold published this reflection on his life journey almost 70 years ago, and it still rings true. If I had my life to live over, I would try to make more mistakes. I would relax. I would be sillier than I have been on this trip. I know of very few things I would take seriously. I would be less hygienic. I would go more places. I would climb more mountains and swim more rivers. I would eat more ice cream and less bran. I would have more actual troubles and fewer imaginary ones. You see, I have been one of those fellows who live prudently and sanely, hour after hour, day after day. Oh, I've had my moments, but if I had it to do over again, I would have far more of them. I never go anywhere without a thermometer, a gargle, a raincoat, and a parachute. If I had it to do over, I would travel lighter. Now, I love that poem because I am one of those people who always travels with at least one bag. Right now in the closet back there are two. I picked up this habit early, and it was reinforced when I became a parent. I am that person who always has the emergency supplies. I once gathered with two other moms, and we decided to compare the contents of our bags. Among the three of us, we boasted pens, pencils, markers, crayons, paper, crackers, cookies, jelly beans, peppermints, chocolate, tea bags, sugar packets, creamer packets, artificial sweetener, string, paper clips, safety pins, cough drops, aspirin, Band-Aids, antibiotic ointment, earplugs, eye drops, dog biscuits, lipstick, eyeliner, nail polish, hand lotion, face moisturizer, mosquito repellent, sunscreen, moist towelettes, tissue packs, hand sanitizer, surgical mask, hammer, nails, screwdriver, screws, tape, glue, stapler, tacks, envelope, stamps, stickers, umbrella, towel, clean underwear, socks, shoes, raincoat, hairbrush, toothbrush, toothpaste, soap, diapers, crossword puzzles, newspaper, magazine, books, phone, pocket knife, hat, sunglasses, move our fellowship as both a haven for spiritual pilgrims and a launching point for justice seekers. There is no map for this collective journey, not even a complete agreement about the destination. Will we know it when we have arrived? Will everyone get there together? These are not easy questions and they don't have simple answers. Are we there yet? Well, when we get to tomorrow, it becomes today. When we arrive there, it becomes here. What is true is that we are traveling together in good company, and we have each other's strength and encouragement. For now, that will have to be enough. Let's take hold of our walking staves, shoulder our bags, and grab our maps. See you on the road. Amen. Shalom. Blessed be. I invite you to take our closing hymn is this.
We are on a journey. We didn't plan it. We didn't have time for the bread to rise. We may find ourselves in the